Hello, welcome to Cycling Tips. I am Dave and I'm hoping I'm welcoming some new viewers today. Viewers who have pumped cycling tips into Google, Ask Jeeves, Bing, wherever you look, because they're new to cycling and are after tips. And as the name suggests, well, this should be the right place for you. And I hope we're going to go back to basics for this video, because there is a lot of people who are starting out from the word go again. People who may not have rode a bike for many years, maybe not since they were a kid, and are finding that, yep, it's pretty damn good. So let's delve into them tips that may have been handed down generation after generation from cyclist to cyclist. Tip number one, and this is the easy one, basically just enjoy it. A lot of people see cycling as well a sport of suffering. Yes, it's got that romantic image, you've seen the videos, but that's not what cycling is about for the majority of people. Yes, there is joy in them moments of suffering, but you don't need to suffer to enjoy your bike. In fact, you shouldn't. If you want to suffer, hey, that's up to you. Next up, where do you spend that hard-earned cash that you've saved up for a new bike? Well, I'm guessing many of you are thinking online's the answer. Yep, you can get a lot of bang for your buck, whether you go to one of the online mega stores, Craigslist, eBay, but I would fully recommend you hunting down a good local bike shop. Now, there's plenty of reasons for this. The first being that they're going to fit you to a bike that is ideal for your needs. Whether it be a town bike, road bike, mountain bike, gravel bike, e-bike, they'll be able to help you pick out the ideal bike. They'll also be able to make sure it fits you to a T. These are things that aren't easily done online. Once you roll out the door on that bike, get a few weeks of use underneath it, the cables and all the gears will bed in and they'll need a slight tune-up. Any good bike shop will gladly take that bike back off you, give it a quick tune-up and send you on your way again for free. The other thing you're getting with a good local bike shop is knowledge. They're going to be able to tell you the good cycle routes, the good cycle lanes, the good cycle clubs. If you want to join one, they'll also be able to tell you the good coffee shops. The other thing with a good bike shop is they shouldn't oversell you an item either. For a first timer, disc brakes and carbon this and that are pretty much not needed, and the sales rep should know this. They should also know that if they sell you the correct item that you're going to use and enjoy, that they'll have your custom time and time again, and you're going to stick with the sport a long time. So yeah, hunt down a good bike shop and they'll see you right. While you've been in that bike shop, I'm guessing you've seen all them slinky outfits, the stuff that makes you look like a ninja. Do you need it? Well, simple answer is no, but there is a few items I would recommend purchasing. The first being obviously a nice helmet, a good quality helmet. Helmets start at a roughly sort of $40–50 mark, £30–40, and up to, well, hundreds of dollars, hundreds of pounds. The thing is though, they all have to pass the same safety standards. So no matter what, those cheap ones should protect your head just as well as the expensive ones. What you are paying for when you spend more money is them to be a little bit more aero, a little bit more stylish I suppose, a little bit lighter and a little bit more ventilated. The next item I would recommend anybody buying is a pair of cycling shorts. And yes, the rumours are true, you don't wear underwear underneath them. Again, you can spend silly money on them or not so much silly money on them. But if you stay tuned to this channel, in the next couple of weeks, we're actually going to be kitting myself out for as cheap as possible. The rest of the items you were seeing in store, sort of fancy jerseys, expensive rain capes and fancy cycling shoes, aren't really necessary if you're just starting out. A good quality wicking t-shirt that you might use down the gym would be adequate for riding your bike for starters. Yep, you can get out and about in a pair of trainers, but when the time does come and you do fancy a pair of them clipping shoes, you will find that they do help with efficiency on the bike. And don't worry, clipping in and out with them funny shoes isn't as difficult as it may seem. It does become second nature pretty quickly. If you do decide to buy clipping shoes, my advice is to stay at home a couple of evenings, learning how to clip in and out while holding on to the kitchen table. As for the rest of the clothing, well, buy as and when you feel you need them. As I said, it's not all necessary, just really nice to have if I'm honest. A few other items I would recommend picking up is a good set of lights. You can even get them now, that are daylight running lights now, basically visible in broad daylight. A good lock is essential. Remember, it's cheaper to buy a good lock than to buy a new bike. I've learnt that the hard way. Gearing. This one can be a baffler for some. Yes, us who have rode our bikes for many years will be second nature on knowing where we are in our gearing choices. But for new people, it may be a little bit of a puzzler as to how they work and where they need to be in the cassette and on the chain rings to be propelled forward at a decent speed. Basically, all you need to know is that that small cog on the rear is the hardest to push, and the bigger one at the back is the easiest one to push, and on the front it's vice versa. The small chain ring is easy to push and the big one is difficult to push. Roughly, you want to be turning your pedals at about 90 revolutions per minute. My next tip is about riding in the wet weather, and while growing up in the northwest of the UK, I should know about spending a few hours with soggy chamois out and about on my bike. Quite simply, riding in the rain is something that you just have to learn to love. Mud guards do help. A good rain jacket definitely helps. Trust me, it can be just as fun riding in the wet weather as it can in lovely sunshine. Well, nearly as nice. For the next tip, it's all about saving yourself that embarrassment of having to call on for someone to come and pick you up when you have a puncture at the side of the road. For starters, if you don't know how to mend a puncture, I would fully recommend the video that I have linked below from my colleague here at Cycling Tips. But when you are out on your bike, you want to be carrying a spare tube, a multi-tool, some patches and a pump at the minimum. This can all be rolled up and shoved in a saddlebag. Etiquette's my next tip. Out and about on the roads, you want to be considerate, courteous to other road users, exactly how you would be in a car. You don't want to be jumping red lights. Basically, you don't want to be that guy, that girl, the one that everybody goes and tuts and shakes their head at. Just don't be a git is what I'm saying. If you're kind, courteous to other road users, they should be to you. Yeah, sure, there's a small minority of idiots out and about on the road, but that shouldn't put you off from riding like a sensible human being. Oh, and do give other cyclists a little wave, a little nod, doff of the cap. We're all in this together after all. Next tip, let's say you've been to the bike shop and bought your new bike. That should fit you nicely. But if you haven't, if you've pulled out an old bike from your garage, dusted it down and want to get out and about on it, you will need to sort your position out. Now, we can't do exact science here, but a rough guide for the correct saddle height is that your knee needs to have just a slight kink in it when you're sat on the saddle and the pedal is at its lowest position. As for your hands on the handlebars, well, you don't be too stretched or too scrunched up either. There's a middle ground, and unfortunately, without going into a bike shop and getting somebody to look at you who knows what they're doing, it's going to be a bit of a learning curve, that one. But getting your hands comfortable, your arse comfortable and your feet comfortable, the 3 contact points, is a must. This next tip is a do as I say, not do as I do. Basically, look after your bike. Clean it, because a clean, well-maintained bike will A, last longer, but also be a lot more fun to ride. As for all the products that you need for cleaning your bike, yep, you can go out and spend a good bit of money on some really good products. But personally, out of everything that you can buy to clean your bike, I would recommend just buying a good degreaser and then using soap and water to get the muck off. Finally, I'll leave you with a few words of wisdom. Words that are painted above the shop door of my dad's bike shop, the place where I spent most of my childhood actually. Quite simply, it's free will when you can, pedal when you must. I think that's basically the essence of what a good bike ride should be. Okay, that is it for me. I do hope this video has been of some use to some people out there who are turning the pedals for the first time. I know it's been pretty basic for the usual crowd that turn up at Cycling Tips, but I'm hoping they've stuck around and are going to help out in the comments below with all the questions and dish out their words of wisdom as well. Until next time though, people, enjoy your riding, stay safe, and thanks for watching.